ಜೊತೆಯಾಗಿರುವವರು, ನನ್ನ ನೆರಳಾಗಿರುವವರು, ನನ್ನ ರಕ್ಷಕ ನನ್ನೊಂದಿಗಿದ್ದು ತನ್ನ ಪ್ರೇಮದಿಂದ ಆಲಿಸುತ್ತಾರೆ. ಏಸಯ್ಯ 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 ನನ್ನ ಏಸಯ್ಯ. All glory and honor to the blood of Jesus. I am Father Bala, Yesu, CPPS, and I belong to the congregation of Precious Blood Missionaries. I am a counseling psychologist, singer and musician. I am excited to share with you all my vocation story. And I consider this vocation, this call to priesthood, is a miracle for me. And why do I say that? I say this because I knew nothing about Christianity. I knew nothing about Christ. I knew nothing of what is called to be a priest, because we were not born Catholics. My parents and my entire family, we were worshipping deities. And we, coming from a remote village, we had lots of poverty issues. And none of my family members were much educated, because in our village we had schooling only up to upper primary. But my encounter with Christ and with the church happened with the church that is adjacent to the school in our village. I used to regularly go to the school, but then what fascinated me was the worship in the church, and especially the way they pray and the way they sing. I have inherited natural talent to sing through my mother, through the grace of God. And I used to go regularly to this church to learn songs, to sing more songs. And it is here I met my parish priest. For the first time I saw him when he came to the church wearing cassock. I was so fascinated to see him in that dress. I was just watching at him, and he noticed me and he asked me, "What is that you are watching at me so strangely?" I asked him, "What should I do to wear this dress?" And he smiled at me and asked me, "Do you really want to?" And I said, "Yes." And then he said, "You pray and you come regularly to the church." After that, I was always regular to the church. I started learning prayers. I started reading Bible. I started singing songs. I was given responsibilities in the church, like bell ringer in the church and sweeping the church, cleansing the church. My parish priest had implanted the desire inside me, and my prayer, my dedication to work in the church has led me slowly to Christ. And after a few years, my parish priest had asked me if I would go for vocation camp. I told him yes. And I went to my home and I asked them if I would go for this camp. And my parents said no, because they themselves did not know what it is all about. But I insisted on my persistence. My parents allowed me to attend this vocation camp. Although they liked me in the vocation camp, the rector said they cannot take me because I am not a Catholic and I am not baptized. I came back and I discussed this matter with my family, and I went to my parish priest and also told to him. And he came to my home and he discussed with the help of my catechist, who explained to me what is vocation to priesthood. My parents, although they did not understand, they allowed because they thought I would be educated. This is exactly what they thought. And later, before joining to the vocation, to the seminary, my entire family was catechized, and we have learned about Christ and the church, and me along with my family were baptized. That's how my vocation to the priesthood has begun. But This did not happen so easily. The formation years were not so easy. I had faced lots of difficulties. I had to learn everything about the church. I had to learn everything about Christ. I had to learn what it means to be a priest. And added to these challenges, I had challenges from home. After few years after baptism, my mother passed away suffering from blood cancer. We couldn't save her because we did not have enough money. After the death of my mother, my father couldn't survive much. After few years, he also died. And after the death of my father, just after 2 years after the death of my father, my second sister also passed away, leaving 2 years son behind. And when I went to the regency, my regency director, who guided me so well, had a massive heart attack and passed away in my hands. My dear brothers, it was not easy for me. I was tested, my faith was tested, and I doubted, I questioned. I had questioned my own vocation, my way of life. Thanks to my congregation, thanks to my superiors, thanks to my spiritual directors, thanks to my companions and friends who helped me in this crisis. And my spiritual director told me all these years, you are trying to know about Jesus. From now, try to know Jesus. There is a lot of difference between knowing about Jesus and knowing Jesus. My personal encounter with Christ began then. I understood the unconditional love that He had for me, that He chose me from nowhere to His altar, to serve His purpose, to be His face to this world. And the greatest realization that I had about my vocation and my call, I found when I read the Gospel of St. Mark chapter 3 verse 16. When Jesus went up to mountain to pray, and when He came down, He called to Him those whom He wanted. It's not my capacities and talents because of which Christ had called me. It is not because of my poverty that Christ had called me. It is not because of any other reason that Christ had called me, except that He loved me and that He wanted me to fulfill His purpose in this world. That was the greatest realization, and I felt so grateful and humbled, and I never looked back. I worked for so many years in North India in the mission diocese of Indore as an assistant parish priest, and I worked for almost 7 to 8 years among the youth as a youth coordinator and assistant youth director. That's where when I found vocation within a vocation to work with the youth, my vocation within a vocation led me to study counseling psychology. My vocation within a vocation led me to study more about music. My vocation within a vocation led me and inspired me to combine both music and therapy and help many people who come to me today. Thanks to my congregation who have always encouraged me. Thanks to my superiors who have always led me to the path of Christ and to venture into these new ministries. A few words about my own congregation. My congregation, Precious Blood Missionaries, is an international congregation founded by a great missionary priest, St. Gaspar del Bufalo, from the Diocese of Rome. He was a great and zealous priest and committed missionary. In his mission journeys, he spread devotion to the precious blood. He had a courage to stand against the heretics, and he had the courage to change the lives of brigands. He had the gift of bilocation. He started the congregation in the year 1815, and through his inspiration, Sister Maria de Matias started Adorers of the Precious Blood in 1834. He was canonized in 1950. And today, we are spread internationally in many countries, doing various ministries. And in India, we are spread in most of the parts of India, engaging ourselves in pastoral ministries, engaging ourselves in retreat ministries, education ministries, various other ministries at the need of the church. My dear brothers and sisters, God has called me to dare to be different. He dared to be different in this world. He has committed himself for a special purpose that was given to him by his Father. And Jesus calls you for a special purpose too. Dare to be different as Christ is different. You are most welcome to join Precious Blood Missionaries and be missionary.